Mark chapter 14, verses 32 to 50. A journey of separation. They went to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and Jesus said, "Sit here while I go and pray." He took Peter, James, and John with him, and he became deeply troubled and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." He went on a little farther and fell to the ground. He prayed that, if it were possible, the awful hour awaiting him might pass him by. "Abba, Father," he cried out, "everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." Then he returned and found the disciples asleep. He said to Peter, "Simon, are you asleep? Couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Keep watch and pray so that you will not give in to temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Then Jesus left them again and prayed the same prayer as before. When he returned to them again, he found them sleeping, for they couldn't keep their eyes open and they didn't know what to say. When he returned to them the third time, he said, "Go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But no, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer is here." And immediately, even as Jesus said this, Judas, one of the 12 disciples, arrived with a crowd of men armed with swords and clubs. They had been sent by the leading priests, the teachers of religious law, and the elders. The traitor, Judas, had given them a pre-arranged signal. "You will know which one to arrest when I greet him with a kiss. Then you can take him away under guard." As soon as they arrived, Judas walked up to Jesus. "Rabbi," he exclaimed, and gave him the kiss. Then the others grabbed Jesus and arrested him. But one of the men with Jesus pulled out his sword and struck the high priest's slave, slashing off his ear. Jesus asked them, "Am I some dangerous revolutionary that you come with swords and clubs to arrest me? Why didn't you arrest me in the temple? I was there among you, teaching every day. But these things are happening to fulfill what the scriptures say about me." Then all his disciples deserted him and ran away.
Today's reflection is entitled A Journey of Separation. Sometimes our journey through life, we experience an enforced separation, a separation from friends and family, from the worshipping congregations that we meet week in, week out. Today we're experiencing separation. And Jesus, we read, experienced being alone, isolated from his friends. In fact, his experience was one not of just of isolation, but one of desertion. His friends pretended they didn't know him. His friends ran away at the point when he needed them the most. His friends slept when he was in anguish. His friends refused to be associated with him. His friends were full of fear. And when we're gripped with fear, we often behave in uncharacteristic ways and in ways in which we focus on our own survival rather than on the needs of the others. We're not used to being alone. Never before have we experienced this type of isolation that's been forced upon us. And that's what, for many, can make it so hard. We didn't choose for this. And yet, I think there's something important that we can learn by the way that Jesus dealt with enforced separation from his friends. Notice in the narrative how there is a calmness surrounding Jesus. Even though his friends deserted him, even though they left him alone, there was a quiet determination that focused Jesus' words and his actions, and that focuses us as a reader so many years on today. I'd like to suggest that it's that calm determination which came from Jesus knowing that although his friends had deserted him, he wasn't actually alone. That he knew that he was the Son of God. Nothing changed that in the narrative. Nothing changed that in Jesus' experience. His identity wasn't through the friends that he'd made, the number of friends that he'd had, how many friends remained around him when he needed them the most. His identity wasn't in the success of his friendship circle, but it was in being the Son of God. In this time of enforced isolation, may we too know the calm determination of recognizing that we remain children of God and that nothing can take that away. We see in the prayer that Jesus prays whilst he's in the garden an acceptance of his destiny. And through that acceptance of his destiny, an obedience of the will of God. Jesus prays, "Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." Jesus is secure in his identity. Jesus, through that security, was willing to be obedient. And through that obedience, was willing to embrace his destiny. We see the strength of Jesus' relationship with the Father, which didn't depend on an interaction with others. In these times of isolation, in these times of separation, may our relationship with the Father be strengthened so that we can grow in obedience. And through growing in obedience, grow in a willingness to embrace our destiny.
Why didn't he escape while he had the chance? That's what I can't work out. He had only to melt away into the shadows, slip quietly off into the darkness, and we'd have missed him for sure. Our quarry once again slipping through our fingers. Right fools we'd have looked then. But luckily for us, it didn't work out that way. Don't ask me why, for I still can't make sense of it. But for some reason, he actually came looking for us, determined apparently to give himself up. Was he fed up, perhaps, with the constant harrying, the knowledge that we were always there plotting behind his back, waiting for the chance to bring him down? Some have said so. Yet he'd never appeared troubled before, our attention seemingly of no importance to him. Whatever it was, though, the fact is he took the initiative, and we were taken aback. Such assurance was the last thing we'd expected. You should have seen us. Enough men and weapons to bring down an army, and there he was, surrendering without a murmur, even rebuking that hot-headed disciple of his for taking a swipe at Malchus. It was astonishing. Yet that's how it continued. No argument, no resistance, no attempt to defend himself. Not even when he stood before Pilate, his life on the line. He submitted willingly, almost eagerly, like a lamb led to the slaughter. Well, we achieved what we were sent to do. We got our man where we wanted him, nailed for all to see on a cross. Yet somehow it doesn't feel right. The whole business leaving a strange taste in the mouth. For the truth of the matter is this: we didn't take his life from him as we'd planned. He gave it to us.